welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, hey, what's up? My name is Tanya, and thank you all so much for joining in and watching this video. This video shout out goes to Angel Slays. Angel Slays, oh my goodness, I don't know your real life name, but oh my goodness, you are so fab. I want to freaking hug you. You are such a rock star on my channel and on Instagram. You slay, and I've checked out your photos on Instagram, and I need to like comment and go like some because I just haven't had time. I'm like I need to like figure out more about you, and I've been so busy that I haven't had a chance, but you slay it. So your screen name is so perfect, and when you commented about Nikita and I being like your two favorite people in a photo, I thought that was so like awesome, and I was just like, I wish that you were in the photo with us. Like, how cool would that be if the three of us were all hanging out one day? Oh my gosh, so much has been running through my head, and I just had to give you a shout out because you slay my channel, my Instagram, yourself, your makeup, everything. You're just awesome. So this video is going to be on the ABH Subculture Palette, which I freaking love. Now, oh my god, I did not go, I like kept myself from watching any videos because I didn't understand what the heck blew up on YouTube over this palette the last few days. And I've had so much going on since I got back from my trip, and then so much filming, so much editing, and I never want to be biased going into a palette. So whenever there's a new launch, whenever, you know, a YouTuber gets it in PR ahead of time, anything like that, I never watch videos before I do my own, and then I'll check out what somebody else has to say about it, because I don't want anything to bias the way I'm gonna do my makeup, how I'm gonna feel about it. And I don't want to give it like negative vibes or anything like that, you know. I don't want like hate into the palette before it's had its fair day in court. So while I was like uploading my own videos to YouTube and trying to check in and comment back and forth with some of you guys, like nothing but these videos have been on my sidebars. Like I can't get away from them, and it's big YouTubers like you know, up to like Jeffree Star and Laura Lee I've seen on the sidebar, all the way to like smaller YouTubers, like just a huge range. I've seen titles where people were just like so mad and hating on this palette, and others that seemed like they were leaving it like, you know, my honest review, which I've told you guys, I think that that's such BS. Every review should be honest and truthful. There shouldn't be a need for that to be in the title. That's why I don't put that in my title. Every review should be honest. So anyway, I was like, what the hell is going on with this palette? Like it's a palette, and it's from Anastasia. It's like her formulations are always incredible. I don't understand this uproar about a palette. I couldn't understand it. So I restrained myself from watching it, even though that bit inside of me so desperately wanted to just be like, what's the hype? So today I finally got to get into this baby, and I did not look at anything. After I did my makeup look, I went and checked out a few videos before coming on here so I could like give you guys some more input mixed in with like what other people are saying. Okay, I don't even know how to start this review. This palette is literally like a press. I feel like I'm echoing. I don't think I closed my door enough. Maybe the house is really quiet. Okay, the negatives. There's not many, so I'll start with the negatives. The two duochrome shades, you have like a film on them that you have to kind of scrape the film off before you can really work with them, and it made it a little bit messy to have to scrape it, and you lose a little bit of product by having to scrape the film off, but I don't mind. Look at my eyes. That green is one of the shades that I had to scrape, and I am not mad at it. And then this one is that insane purpley pink, like just Oh my God, that shade is gorgeous. So I used both of those. Yes, it was annoying that there was a film you had to kind of scrape off, but look at the payoff. And now that it's scraped off, it is good to go. And once I got it off and I used it on the one eye, when I went to work on the other eye, it's not like you have to keep scraping at it. It's a one-time scrape and you're done and you're good. Every other shade in here, you don't need to do that with, just the two duochrome. The metallic is smooth as butter. And then the other 11 mattes, you have a mixture of cool tone and warm tone. And they are all so rich in pigment. And now I think this is where people are having an issue is, first of all, I had next to no fallout, which I was so surprised at, because when you feel these, they are like you're putting your finger in an eyeshadow dream cream butter. They are so smooth and soft. So right away when you touch it, that tells you that these are more of a pressed pigment than just like an eyeshadow filled with fillers. Because whenever you have a bunch of fillers put into the eyeshadow, that helps sheer out the eyeshadow, that helps it glide more smoothly and blend out more smoothly, but you don't get such a payoff. And when you have these kind of intense colors, in order to get your like bang for your buck out of these kind of deep, intense, grungy colors, you need a lot of pigment. And in order to have a lot of pigment put into the shadows, you can't have a lot of filler, which means it's not going to glide as easily if you're not really being careful. I had zero issues. Every shadow blended out so easily. There was so much pigment. I'm telling you guys, when you take your brush, whatever brush it is, you literally want to tap it. You don't want to like, our habits are to go into a palette and just like, you know, doop, 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 and blend, doop, 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 and blend. You can't do that with this palette because it is so richly pigmented, but it is worth it. You just need to be like a little extra when you're working with it, a little bit more careful and a little bit more, it's a little bit more time consuming to get, you know, your perfect blend, because if you go in with a heavy hand or if you go at the palette, that's when you're gonna have like an explosion of powder. I don't have an explosion of powder in here, because when you feel it, you always touch your shadows before you use them, and that will give you a really good gauge of what kind of pressure you need to use with both your brush when you're putting it in and how you're working it. So with these, you want to tap it really lightly, and you also want to go in with a light hand. You don't want to like jab at your face and try to like push hard and blend hard, as I'm getting pigment on me. You want to like lightly tap it, because when you see me in the tutorial, you're going to see how much pigment there is by tapping one time into the pan, kicking it off, and then placing it down. It is just beautiful. And I think that that is what was intended for this palette. So when I'm seeing, and same with the color scheming in here, so many of the colors are complementary where you actually need to be careful because of color theory. So if you start mixing certain shades together, they're gonna get muddy. So you wanna keep, you know, like if you're gonna mix a purple and a yellow, or a blue and a yellow, even though yes, you wanna blend and you want seamless lines, you still kind of need to keep it separated or it's going to turn muddy. So it's a little bit more of a high maintenance palette, but as long as you just are aware of these things, it's nothing. This look didn't take me any longer than a stereotypical look does when I'm adding in things like glitter glue and working with a chroma crystal type, because this reminds me of like Natasha Denona's chroma crystals, when they're a little bit trickier to work with, but the payoff is amazing. And once they're there, and there's no fallout. Nothing is budging. It's staying put. It looks beautiful. So when I'm seeing makeup artists who know what they're doing, the way that they were applying these, I feel like there was almost they were almost trying to cause drama. And I don't know if they're trying to cause drama for the sake of hype on their channel and views, or if they're just causing drama for the sake of causing drama. But they know better, and they know how to apply shadows and what colors not to mix together. And they would know by touching it that you need to go in just dabbing it, going in with a light hand. So when I'm watching some of these videos, I was like, I'm not even a makeup artist. You know, I don't have my qualifications, and I know better. So you guys, when you're watching these videos, take everything with a grain of salt. There's no bad batches that these were not mass produced. If you go watch Norvina's, I blanked for a second, Norvina's like commercial, she tells you like the breakdown on this palette, how there's warm tones incorporated with cool tones, so you get that option. So I went for a very cool tone, more like grungy look, just to step outside of my comfort zone and really see what this palette was capable of. And it's like a sister palette to the ABH Modern Renaissance. She says that she considers this to be the like nighttime palette, where the Modern Renaissance is the daytime palette, and you can work both of them together, so they're very complementary in their tones. And by having both palettes, you really have everything covered. And I agree with that. If I was able, like today I stuck with just this palette because I knew that there was just so much explosion on the internet over this palette, and I don't understand it. It's a palette and it's beautiful. But I can see how working with the two palettes together would just be gorgeous. But this on its own is such a standalone palette. Even if you didn't want to go, you know, grungy and over the top like what I did, you had so many beautiful neutral shades in here still that are so intense and rich in pigment, and so just like there, where you can just kind of pack it on and then blend, blend, blend and be done. So I think that this drama is BS. I really do. I think that this is a beautiful palette. I think that if you are not somebody who wants to spend the extra time or get to learn how to like work this palette, you won't want to get it. So I love it. I don't mind being extra. I don't mind taking a little more time using a palette. But if you're somebody who really wants to do like a beautiful full glam look, but really quickly without worrying about having like too much pigment because you're scared of too much pigment, which I totally understand, things like that, then this palette wouldn't be for you. But ABH killed it. Like the Sephora Pro palettes are so rich in pigment but have so much fallout. You can create so many beautiful looks, but to me those palettes are so much more tedious to work with than this one. And I'm comparing the two because this to me is such a pressed pigment palette. It is not like a stereotypical eyeshadow palette. They were not mass produced in China. They are made in the USA. The brush was produced in, I went and looked it up. You guys are gonna laugh at me in a minute because it says that the shadow brush is made in PRC, and I was guessing that it was the People's Republic of China, but I wasn't really sure because I didn't major in geography, and it is. So the brush was mass produced. It's synthetic fibers. This was produced in China. This was in the US. It is cruelty free, and there was nothing. There's no shade from this company. They weren't trying to dupe anybody. They didn't release a bad product. I really truly believe that Norvina put her heart and soul into developing this palette, because at the end of the day, you guys think about it too. She has such an amazing name for herself, okay, with like so many Anastasia products, not just the Modern Renaissance palette, but as a brand, the brand is a solid brand. They're not Morphe, okay? I'm not trying to be like, but they're not Morphe, okay? They are a solid company. And when they have such a successful palette like the Modern Renaissance, they're not going to try to put out a bad product. They're not going to try to cut corners and get dingy on costs and try to like just shave ingredients or anything like that. If anything, the company would have been trying to outdo the modern renaissance, outshine the modern renaissance. They're not going to want that bad name for the company. So I really think that all of this negativity around this palette is solely trying, like, attention seeking on YouTube. And I think it's really, really sad, because just knowing that this palette was probably in development for the last year, knowing that somebody leaked this palette on Instagram and on the internet before Anastasia Beverly Hills had a chance to give its own proper introduction, I think that was really shady of whoever leaked it. Like, it was just, I feel bad for ABH. I really do, because I think that this palette is gorgeous, and for $42 to have something so rich in pigment, and when you're trying to get these kind of shades, it is so difficult to get these shades that actually show up true to these shades on your skin. Like, you guys know my eyeshadow palette collection is obscene, and I literally have at least 30 more palettes sitting over there ready to fill my part 5 of my eyeshadow palette collection. So when I am telling you guys that it is very difficult to get these kind of colors and to get that payoff, I'm not kidding. And this is, they killed it. They killed it. You'll see it when it's on my eyes. And I just think that it's really sad that big names are dragging this palette down, that all these other people are dragging it down. You know, when everybody had all that uproar over like the Kim Kardashian contour sticks, yes, those were garbage. They were breaking. There was next to no product. The one end of the highlight stick is dry and cakey and chalky, and there's so much shady business around that. That is reason for the internet to blow up and be like, WTF, Kim, what are you releasing? And, you know, this isn't one of those products that there's a reason for any of this to be happening. And like I said, I feel bad for Norvina, and I feel bad for the company, and this is going to be very preferential though. And when you're looking at it, the colors do look odd. When I first looked at this, like online, when the image was actually released by ABH, I had to get it because I'm a collector and I wanted to review it for you guys. But I was kind of looking at it like, you know, yeah, there's a couple shades, but like, what am I going to do with this? But once I swatched it, you really see the colors come together and the looks that you can create with this palette when the colors are like laid out on your arm versus looking at it in its palette. It makes a really big difference, and I love this so much, and I didn't think that I would love it as much as I do because of the initial image. I was looking at it like, it's such an odd color scheming. But I think at the end of the day, it's a brilliant color scheming, and it comes together and it works. And you do need to know your colors a little bit, like your color theory a little bit, so you don't muddy up your shades when you're blending. That's the only thing really, because to me, the high intensity pigment is not a con. I think that is a very big plus. And they are so buttery that they like melted into the skin, and I did not have much fallout, and I wasn't trying to be careful for fallout purposes because I do my eyes first anyway. And when it was time to clean up, I realized when I was cleaning up, I was like, there's like nothing to clean up except the little bit of concealer I put under my eyes just to even out my eyes while I'm doing the tutorial. So this is the longest review I've ever done on a palette, but I'm wondering if I should, like, I'm thinking like, should I put it in 2 separate videos? I won't, I'll just timestamp it. But you guys, don't rush out and buy this palette if you're not going to be comfortable working with these kind of shades that are so densely rich in like that pigment. If it's going to intimidate you, if you're not going to know how to work with the colors, because you need to have fun when you're working with makeup. You know, if you miss out on getting this palette, you miss out on getting this palette. It is not the end of the world. You need to be comfortable. And I'm comfortable working with this. I have no problem. But, you know, if this was me a year ago, I honestly would be scared of this palette. I would be. Pre-starting out my YouTube channel, before I started taking risks, before I started like getting into colors, this would have terrified me. If I would have purchased it, I probably wouldn't have purchased this if I, you know, a year ago. But let's just throw it out there and say a year ago, before I had my channel, I purchased it. I probably would have returned it because I wouldn't know what to do with it, because it's just, I don't want to say there's a learning curve to it. It's just a very different palette, but I think it's so worth it because it's so beautiful. But it's not worth it if you guys aren't going to be comfortable, if it's going to intimidate you or stress you out, or you're sitting there and you just don't know what to do with it or how to blend it right or how to color scheme correctly. That's just not worth it. And to me, that would be the only downfall of this palette, is that it's a plus and a negative. That you have warm tone, cool tones, and these shades, I love that there's that range, but at the same time, if you don't know how to work it, you're gonna get muddiness. If that's a word, I made it a word. If it's not, I think it's, yeah, muddiness. But there's no reason why legit makeup artists are having issues with this. So, if you, I'm gonna leave it at that. There is really no reason for any legitimate makeup artist to be struggling with this palette. There really isn't. And I bought it, I'm not returning it, and I would buy it again. I love it. I love this eye look. I want to recreate this eye look and wear this eye look again. I'm loving this. I think it is bomb. So, oh my gosh, this is like a 20-minute intro, 23-minute intro and review already, but I think that it deserved to have this extra, you know, extraness, because what has happened to this palette in YouTube is just not fair. So I'm sorry if this seemed long-winded, but I felt like I really needed to cover a lot, because I just don't, I think what's going on with the reviews, it's just shady. I don't agree with them at all, but I don't need to keep, I feel like I'm just being redundant at this point. I don't want you guys to rush out and buy this palette either, just because I love it. I think that this one is really going to be a preferential, how you like to do your makeup, what colors you like to use when you do your makeup. And so this one is not a universal palette for everyone, I don't think. So just because I love it, it doesn't mean that all of you guys are going to love it, but I honestly love it. And I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't love this. You know that. I would tell you if I thought it was awful, but I love it. So I also reviewed the liquid highlights, and these are amazing. I demoed these as well. These just melted into the skin and on top of powders, and you're gonna see it. These are gorgeous. And in the meantime, purely coincidental, Sephora package got delivered, and Anastasia released new lipsticks. They are her new matte lipsticks, but they're really creamy matte lipsticks. And I picked up the shade Dusty Mauve, and it just happened to match my eye look. So that's what's on my lips right now. So I actually put 3 new Anastasia products to the test, and I loved all of them. So if you guys want to see swatches, see this in action, you're gonna see my little like tidbits along the way, like this is blending out like a dream. Am I crazy? Like those kind of things. Then just keep on watching. Alright, so I have not peeked at these babies. They've been sitting here for a few days now, and I've actually completely kept myself from looking at any single review online. My entire YouTube side has just been like littered with the Subculture palette. I don't know what is going on with this palette, why there seems to be so much controversy over it. I don't know. I really have not clicked on a single video. I don't want anything to bias myself in reviewing it, in applying the makeup or anything. I generally don't watch reviews at all until after I've already done mine anyway, but this one was really hard for me to like not click on a video because it's just been dominating YouTube and I don't understand what's going on. It's an Anastasia palette, so I'm really confused. I guess I'm about to find out. I don't really know. All I've done is watch Norvina's little commercial, I guess it is. It's done really cool, explaining that this is the sister palette to the Modern Renaissance, and this is like the night version, was her vision, and they are also meant to be used together. I will only use just the Subculture palette today, so if you guys don't have the Modern Renaissance palette and you are looking just for a review on the Subculture, I will stick just to the Subculture, where generally I do incorporate just using one brand when I want to use, you know, transition shades or whatever it is if I need something else. But with the way my YouTube looks right now, I will just stick to the Subculture, and then I'm gonna go watch some videos to see what the heck is up with this when I am done. So a little information on this. It says an essential eyeshadow collection with 14 shades featuring grungy mattes and bold metallics with an underground edge. And I believe Norvina said that 11 out of the 14 were mattes, 1 is a metallic, and 2 are duochromes. And the eyeshadows are made in the US, but the brush is made in PRC, which I think is People's Republic of China, I think. I'm not sure, but I think that's what PRC stands for. I was not a geography buff in high school or undergrad or anything. I avoided geography at all costs, but it says that the shadow brush is made in PRC, but all of the eyeshadows are made in the US. They are hypoallergenic, dermatologist tested, and of course, Anastasia is cruelty-free. And then I picked up the Liquid Glow highlighters in Oyster and Perla. So we will swatch those babies too. I was really excited and intrigued by this palette because the colors totally caught me off guard based on like just seeing images on Instagram from Anastasia's post of what the colors look like. But I'm totally down to try to do a grungy look and step outside of my comfort zone. So this does have the same kind of finish as the Modern Renaissance palette, which I like and I don't like. I like because it's like soft and fuzzy and it's, you know, you kind of want to cuddle it. But at the same time, my Modern Renaissance palette got dirty after one use and I don't like that. Okay, I'm like scared. I'm never really scared to open a palette, but I just don't know what to expect because I've never seen my YouTube so littered with one palette. Like, why is this causing controversy? Okay, to me this is pretty. One of the pans is not pressed in properly, but I get that quite frequently with my palettes. I think I just purchased so much makeup to review for you guys that it's just luck of the draw. But my palette looks really beautiful on its face. I am instantly drawn into, obviously, this shade and this shade. Like, I so want to use this one and use this one for a halo, but I will step outside of my comfort zone and not do that, despite the fact that, oh my gosh, those two colors are so calling my name. Electric looks really fun, too. So I think Adorn was the metallic, and then Cube and Electric are duochromes. So with duochromes, I do generally like to put down a glitter glue. So if you guys have this and you're having issues, I would use a glitter glue for duochromes. I use glitter glues even with Natasha Denona palettes, which are obviously way more pricey than an Anastasia palette. And yeah, on its face, this looks really pretty. So let me open up the highlights. This is Oyster, and it's gonna break my nail. That's a really nice little tube. Face highlighter, liquid glow. Nothing special, so I'll just swatch it when I swatch the palette, but it doesn't say, like, I mean, it doesn't say anything special. And then this is what Perla looks like in comparison, so you guys can see Perla and Oyster. This one has like a little bit more of a pink undertone based on the packaging. So I'm gonna get to swatching this, and I think that these would pair beautifully together with the Modern Renaissance palette to have both of them out on your vanity and creating makeup looks. But I'm gonna go swatch and then, I don't generally use these brushes, but Anastasia's are always pretty nice. Yeah. Hers seem to be the exception with palettes that I actually use her brushes. I forgot about that because I did like her Modern Renaissance, but that was released a year ago. But generally, I don't like the brushes that come with palettes, but this one does seem nice. So anyway, I'm gonna get to swatching and I will be right back. So this is Perla and Oyster. Oyster's a little bit more peachy than pinkish, but it's kind of like a peachy pink. These look really, really beautiful. Like, look at that. I think that these are gonna be stunning. I can't wait to play with these. As usual, I swatched row by row, and Cube and Electric are the duochrome shades, and Adorn is the metallic shade, and the rest are a combination of cool tone and warm tone eyeshadows. So these eyeshadows are extremely, hi Romeo, he's poking up. These eyeshadows are extremely, extremely soft, like so soft. It's almost like you're putting your finger into an eyeshadow butter, and so pigmented. I think that these are almost like a pressed pigment. So I'm definitely going to be working a little bit more on the cautious side, and I don't know if maybe people are just going in really hard with their brushes, because I can tell just by putting my finger into the pan that these are not a type of eyeshadow that you want to be pounding your brush into. You know, you want to like go delicately into it with any kind of pressed pigment. Same with the Sephora Pro palettes, but these seem to be way more beautiful. So we have Cube, which has a beautiful pink shift in it. Dawn, I love this transition shade. It's perfection. Destiny, this kind of has like a moss green type of color to me. Adorn, oh my god, I love it. And All Star, I love it. Mercury, this is like a grayish. I think I'm gonna step outside of my comfort zone and work probably with maybe these three and go with Electric. I'm not sure yet. Axis is the last of the first row, and I love this blue, but I don't think I've ever worked with something this pigmented and this blue and deep. And getting colors like this really requires a lot of extra pigment, which can result in more fallout and kickback in the pan. So I don't know, I haven't dipped a brush in there yet. And then the next row we have Roxy. This is a beautiful peachy color. I love Electric. Fudge, Awesome Brown. New Wave, Untamed, Edge, and Rowdy, I think it is. This appears like almost a black color when it's swatched, but when you're looking in the pan, it looks like a really deep, dark purple. So I'm not really sure what to make of this shade. This is the only one that I'm kind of like, it doesn't really swatch with what it looks like in the pan. But the rest of them, I'm really impressed with these so far. So I'm going to go prep and prime my eyes, and I will be right back. All right, I'm going to take my Carity E31 and starting with the shade Mercury. Let's see. Okay, I'm not having like Sephora Pro palette issues. That's kind of what I was thinking might happen because these seem like really pressed pigments. I'm not having an issue as far as like too much powder kick off or anything. So I'm just going to start building the crease and above. My eye is running so badly, like my tape is actually soaking wet. I will be right back. Okay, it will not stop, so I'm just gonna hold this down and go for it. Okay, you guys, so far this shade is amazing. It blended completely effortlessly, like butter. It's not patchy, it's not skipping. Maybe I'm making a wrong assumption and all of the blown up videos on YouTube. No, I saw a lot of titles where they were negative. I don't know. I'm going to keep going, but so far this is awesome. Now I'm going to take my Carity E31 and the shade All Star. Like, I'm just delicately touching it because these are so crazy soft. Like, these are super soft shadows. But I'm not having an issue so far. And like, look at that pigment. It's just that they're so pigmented. There's no issues, you guys. I'm just being careful. Like, I'm tapping in very lightly and just being careful. Now I'm going to take my Wayne Goss number 20 brush and I want to see what cube looks like underneath the brow bone. This one seems to have almost like a coating on it. Yeah, like I had to scratch it. There we go. I was gonna say, this one even didn't swatch like super intense, but I can see that there's like a film on it. All right, I love this shade and I brought it down into the eyeshadow because if we are making it grungy, we are going for it. But I did end up having to dig into it quite a bit. There was a definite coating over this shade. So that one, that sucked having to kind of like dig a layer off, but it is really beautiful. So now I'm actually going to take the brush that it came with just to give this a little spin for packing, and I'm going to take the shade Axis. Again, I'm not having issues. Aside from that coating, I really don't know what's going on. I don't know. Now I'm going to take some Too Faced glitter glue and pop that all over my lid because I want to put electric all over my lid because I think it's going to be super fun. I keep going back and forth on whether or not I want to make a halo or put it all over, but I think I'm just going to go for it and put it all over. And now taking my, where'd it go? MAC. It's hiding. I just had it. Taking my MAC 242 into electric. Yeah, both of the duochrome shades need to be scratched out a little bit. Milani her up. I just want to leave like a little bit of that blue peeking through on the top. This is so fun. I'm really loving this palette, you guys. Kurt just came home and he brought me fries. I told you guys my McDonald's fry addiction is really bad. Well, I do want to finish this up before I go do my face, but I'm super hungry. So now I'm just going to take my Wing Goss number 20 brush and go back into All-Star. Just put a little bit of that on the outer corner. Now my dogs are going crazy because they want McDonald's. So now I'm going to eat my fries, finish up my face, and then come back on to put the highlight on and then finish up the lower lash line. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Cheers! I finished up my face and I feel so naked without highlight on. We need to get to applying the highlight like now, but I'll just quickly tell you guys what I put on. The only thing different really is I use my NYX Ombre blush in Mauve Me, and where'd they go? I tried a new style of Flutter lashes. It's their premium style number 168, and I love these. Look at these wispy babies. They're really, really awesome and super comfortable too. So just new style that I tested out, and crazy timing. Sephora got delivered while I was doing my face, and ABH released a bunch of new, well, a new lipstick in a bunch of new shades, and I picked up one shade and it happens to match the look that I'm wearing right now. I'm like loving all of these little coincidences and things that are like happening lately. It's so cool. So this is what the packaging looks like of her new, here we go, the new lipsticks. It is beautiful. Look at this. That is like some sexy packaging. So I picked up Dusty Mauve, and it's a matte lipstick, but it's still like really creamy and moisturizing. It's not drying at all, and I just can't believe that it actually is like tying into the look, because she released like over 16 shades or something, or was I don't even know. It was a lot of shades, and I picked up one shade. I have so many palettes. I just decided to film with this palette today, and then while doing my face, this baby came in. And then as usual, I used my Estee Lauder Double Wear makeup. Everything will be listed down below. My Marc Jacobs Tastic bronzer, my Urban Decay the Velvetizer to set it, my Tom Ford eye defining pen for my wing, and that's everything. So now I'm going to zoom you guys in so we can get to playing with highlights. All right, I think I'm gonna go with the shade Perla for a little bit of like warmth brought into this, and you know, that little champagne tone. I love this eye look. Like, I'm loving these colors. I don't know what the fuss is about. I really don't. I am so obsessing with this palette. I don't know how much to take either. So I'm just gonna start with a little bit and see if it's something similar to like the Marc Jacobs that I love and the custom effects drops, and just go from there. That just blended out so easily and like melted into the skin. And I love that it does work on top of powders. So that's what it looks like. I so need that other viewfinder that I keep telling you guys that I need so I can see what I'm showing you. But this is a really pretty glow. I'm so impressed with everything. The palette, the lipstick, and these liquid glows. Liquid glow face highlighter. That's what it's called. You guys, this is so pretty. This is such a beautiful liquid highlight. Like, it just melted. I love this. And of course, I'm extra, so I am going to set it with a highlight powder. I just realized I need to stick with ABH because that would be silly. I have a ridiculous amount of ABH palettes, so I'm just going to take the Ultimate Glow, and I think I'm going to top it with some white sand using my ABH 823 brush. There, that's what it looks like topped with a highlight powder, and then what the glow is like on its own. So this is definitely a very beautiful daytime, like more natural glow, and then bam. So taking my Wayne Goss number 20 brush and the shade Mercury, I'm going to smoke that beneath the lower lash line. Now I'm going to take my Luxie 111 mini flat angled brush. This has been like the best brush ever for just giving like an effortless smoky bottom line, lash line, lower lash line. I've been loving this brush so much. And I'm going to dip into All Star and put that beneath the lower lash line. Now I'm going to take my MAC 212 brush and dip into Electric. See if I can get this on the lower lash line. Yeah, this brush isn't really picking it up. Not like right where I want it to. Come on. You're smudging in there. Alright, this makeup look is complete. I'm gonna just go get dressed. I am actually going to go check out a few of those reviews now that I am done my makeup and freaking love this palette before I come back to do my intro, so I have a little bit more input to give you guys in the intro aside from all of the pros and a little bit of the, I don't even think they're cons, but I'm gonna go check out a couple videos and then I will be right back. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope that my review was helpful for you guys and that you like the eye look that I came up with and just seeing these shadows perform and everything in action, and that hopefully you're realizing that this palette is a really beautiful palette. It just does require a little extra love, you know, a little extra care when using it. So anyway, that does it for this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Please share it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, good night, good morning, wherever you are. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.